Okay, I'm gonna try to do this as fast as I possibly can. I did a video about that Cook person who was shot by DHS, and the point that I wanted to get to was that if you allow these law enforcement officers to continue to violate human rights and constitutional rights, you're going to contribute to the destruction of society, because people will no longer trust government, which you don't trust government now. Okay, real fast. This officer used poor reasoning, made bad choices in reaching inside the car that resulted in him being dragged and injured. Their own manuals tell them not to do that. Their own manuals tell them not to shoot at a moving vehicle, not to stand in front of a moving vehicle, not to reach into a moving vehicle. Their own manuals tell them that. So I had made that point. Yes, I think he used poor judgment, bad reasoning skills, poor choices that ended up in him being harmed. And now they're saying that he's in serious emotional duress. I don't think he's in serious emotional duress because he shot someone. I think he's in serious emotional duress because he has psychological issues. He may have a Superman complex. He may think he's savior of the world. He may think he's better than other people. And he may think because he's better than other people, he has the right to harm them. So I wanted to clarify that because I'm a firm supporter of Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump didn't kill anybody. Mr. Trump didn't use poor reasoning, bad choices that have ended up in him being harmed or him harming another person. Okay, I work security. You don't get much training when you work security. You literally got to train yourself. And I wanted to survive. And I knew that if I was going to have to get physical, I was going to need both my hands, both my arms, both my legs. And I always said that the strongest muscle in my body is my brain. Give me half a second and I'll think you and rip you apart. This person, as he's moving in front of the vehicle, which is against their own training, is holding a cell phone. I've shot firearms, mostly revolvers. I have a 9mm. When I was in security, like I said, I knew that I was going to need both my hands, both my arms. If you believe you're in a situation where you're going to go hands-on, you're not holding a cell phone with one hand recording, which is only going to leave you, one is going to leave you off balance, because the body works together. The legs work with the arms, and the arms work with the legs. Especially if you're going to have to use force. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's ever played a sport, everybody's played a sport. Everybody has run. Everybody knows that about body mechanics. Why is this person holding a cell phone in a situation where he's going to have to go hands-on? I worked security for a hospital. And it was literally 1, 2, 3. If there was an incident in the hospital, any patient's room, as you are walking, as you are taking the elevator, there's glove boxes all over. You grab your gloves, you put your gloves on, because you're in a hospital and you were trained to protect yourself from infection. You get your mask. There's mask boxes all over the place. You get a mask. You're not going to have a shield. But 1, 2, 3. Get there. Put your gloves on. Put your mask on. I have what I call my body cams. Not what I'm recording on right now. But I go to eBay and I buy cell phone holders, and they have clips. And the one that I call my body cam, if I need to protect myself from cops harassing me and they drag me out of my vehicle, has a clip that I can clip it to the jacket pocket or to my belt. If you know you might have to go hands-on, if you know you might have to shoot someone, you're not holding a cell phone in one hand, which only leaves one hand free for you to defend yourself. You're not. I'm sorry. Who trained this guy? I know people want to support him. And I say that if there are any good cops, I don't think there are any good cops. They all have the same bad attitude. They all, Megyn Kelly has been showing videos of what she thinks are people harassing cops. In the United States of America, law enforcement are public servants. I wasn't a public servant. I was a private security guard, and the territory that I covered, I was expected to protect, and I was expected to protect the people on that territory. People came on there with their little, I have rights and you can't do anything to me. I'm sorry, you're on private property. Go step on a sidewalk, a city sidewalk. You're right. You do have rights. But you have rights that protect you against government employees. There are laws that protect all of us against members of the public from harming us. Okay. So, I have one rule. And people are probably wondering, how's this guy that speaks so well about everything that America stands for is so vicious and cruel to law enforcement? My rule here in El Paso, Texas, while encountering law enforcement is, I know they're going to get on their little bad attitude and start making their little comments. So before they can get on their bad attitude and start making little comments, I start tearing them apart. Because I know what road they're going to. I've been through this before. You don't got to tell me how the members of El Paso, Texas law enforcement are going to behave. I've seen them. They have harassed me, and I have observed them harassing members of the public, because that's all they know. Humanity, I'm sorry to say, is it's almost finished. What I'm hearing with these people, well, I'm not that concerned, because I know it's social media bluster. That's all it is. It's a lot of people have decided that the road to riches is social media. And they're calculating, there goes another one. Another useless police officer in El Paso, Texas. You didn't see it because I had my camera on my leg. I would have put it up on the dashboard, but it's too heavy, it would have fallen off the holder. Okay, so any person, and the Supreme Court has already ruled on this. If you pay attention, the Supreme Court has ruled that the First Amendment of the United States of America, not only the part about freedom of speech, not only the part about freedom of the press, and that everybody's a citizen journalist and everybody can document what's in plain view. I personally won't record, or at least I'll try to avoid recording in the direction of someone's private property, because something may be going on in the windows, but the Supreme Court has said it's in plain view, and if it's in plain view, you can record it. If you can see it, you can record it. I personally wouldn't do that. So the Supreme Court has said freedom of speech and redress of government, and to voice your displeasure with your government, I'm paraphrasing, allows you to trash cops like you would not believe. And the Supreme Court has been very clear on their decision that you can literally say, F you, cop. F you and your ugly, fat, lesbian mother. Now you're probably wondering why. Why is a Christian using this kind of language? To make the point that in the United States of America, you're a member of the group called We the People. You are in charge. The cops work for you. We give them our instructions through our administrative body, which here in El Paso, Texas would be the mayor and the city representatives. We tell them what we want. They don't tell us. And I'm not an unreasonable person. I don't care who the person is. I don't care what crime the person committed. That person is a human being, and members of law enforcement will treat that person as a human being. They will not yell at them. They will not attempt to antagonize the person. They won't push the person's buttons so the person does something stupid like come out swinging, and then they have a reason to press charge. You really have to hone. You have to hone your peace, because they're going to do everything possible. And I've seen it, and they've tried to do it to me. And the more you don't bite, the angrier they get. They love to manhandle people. They love to throw people around. The last two incidents, they were reaching inside trying to unlock my doors. Why is this on? I turned it off. For traffic. Yes, I'm going to admit it now. That guy that they were running somewhere around here, I was on my way home and I flipped them off. Yeah, I played on my bike just to show who they are. And he fell straight into it. They fall straight into it. They're just so easy to manipulate. And I know that kind of poor service from government services gives people a very bad attitude, and they already have a bad attitude to start with. They're already part of the everything sucks, nothing works, why bother clan. They're not doing their part. They're not voting. They're not paying attention to the issues. I don't listen to Megyn Kelly or Trish Regan or the people on the Five or Laura Ingraham or Alex Jones, or sometimes I'll see what Tucker Carlson is up to, because I love these people. The majority of them I don't respect. But they're providing information about what's going on around us, with necessary information. Freedom is important to me. The American style of society, not government. Government is supposed to, the people in government are supposed to understand that they work for the people. We don't work for them. But they're the mess. They're the problem. They're the people taxing us spending. Democrat, Republican, independent, elephant, giraffe, snake, field rat, whatever it is. They're out there literally screwing us, creating conditions that make life unbearable. We're all working in vain. we're under the idea that we should be working harder and harder and harder and harder, and they're up there spending more money and spending more money and spending more money. All this rhetoric about Minnesota and Somalis and fraud and American tax dollars financing terrorist groups. You can yell at Tim Walz all you want. Where the hell were the members of the United States Congress? Where were the members of the House of Representatives? Where were the members of the United States Senate? They're supposed to be, these are their responsibilities. They're responsible for the psychological services that agents receive after life-threatening trauma. They're responsible for the psychological evaluation of the people working in the Department of Homeland Security. This person who shot this woman, in my opinion, my bachelor's in psychology, all my independent study on pain and suffering, hurt, depression, anxiety, pressures boiling up, leading to serious illness. All that insight tells me this person should never have been working on the home. This person can't control his emotions. This person, well, let's speak in high probabilities. There are high probabilities that this is a person with a bad attitude. This is a person, there are high probabilities that this agent has a Superman complex. Not a God complex, a Superman complex. It's his job to save the world. So he's going to reach in vehicles. He's going to stand in vehicles, in front of vehicles. And to me, he stood in front of that vehicle knowing that there was only one possible outcome, and that was going to be that he was going to get the opportunity that he's been looking for to kill someone. I can support Trump. I can support the people who are working hard at capturing all the people in this country illegally and not support this person. I'm sorry. I have a responsibility to use my correct reasoning skills and evaluate things correctly and not be a member of a group that just wants to defend a member of their group. I heard today, as I was preparing to start my business day, another agent of the Department of Homeland Security shot a person, and he shot the person because he was holding a shovel and using the shovel in a threatening manner. If everything is the way it was described so far, to me that's justified. You tell the person to put the shovel down, and they don't put the shovel down, and they're coming in your direction, and they're letting you know that they plan on hurting you. Now, of course, my mind goes to, well, where do they have pepper spray? Do they have stun guns? Well, that's a different conversation. However, okay, in my opinion, this guy was wrong in his initial incident, reaching into the vehicle that resulted in him getting dragged. In my opinion, it resulted in psychological issues that come from life-threatening trauma. And he's shown that, if you're serious about your job, and you're serious about... So that was my mindset, was that no one's going to harm me. I'm going to go home. I'm not going to die on the job. And when I had to deal with incidents, I was always processing information. I was always listening to the voice, watching the facial expressions. I wasn't getting excited. They could yell as loud as they wanted to. They could yell every explicative they wanted to. I was watching, and I was keeping my distance, and I was preparing for when that person decided to lunge forward. I never thought that I was a big thing, and I was going to yell orders, and people were going to listen to me. In fact, I became a certain particular type of goofball. That's how I would settle things. It's like, hey, man, this is what I would say. Hey, man, I'm earning basic minimum wage, to pay my bills. I don't want to harass you. Why do you want to harass me? I never, I never bit. Now, there was times where you show up and you see people punching each other. Your words aren't going to do much at that time. But I was always thinking, keep my distance. Prepare to defend myself. I was always evaluating the person. I wasn't enraged. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset because people weren't listening to my instructions. I was just observing. Oh, and then there was the rule of, if you don't say much, eventually they'll burn themselves out. Not only that, they themselves will recognize that they've gone way far out on the limb. And it's time to cool off and leave. The other agents that were yelling at that woman, again, when 3 or 4 people are yelling, it's disorientating. You got a tumor. It's starting to affect how I pronounce words. So screw you if you want to laugh at that. But, yeah. I heard an example of, wow, that's the perfect way for law enforcement to communicate to a member of the community. Just yelling and screaming and getting upset, getting excited, getting hyper, volatile. I've said this before. I heard a police officer on a YouTube video actually say, I was trained where I will ask, then I will tell, and then I will make. That is a very stupid attitude to have. You can work with people, and again, criminals are human beings, and criminals should be. And the reason criminals need to be treated like human beings by law enforcement is because we have seen example after example after example where the cop starts with criticisms, laughing at the person, and then insulting the person, spitting bad words at the person, and then manhandling the person, slapping the person around, punching the person, and then shooting the person. Psychological processes of rage and anger, and not thinking clearly, and hating. And we have seen more than enough examples of that. What happened in Ferguson should not have happened. You don't mess with the neck. Everybody tells you you don't mess with the neck. But not only did I see that cup on that person's neck, I saw 4 others on his body. And I'm saying that as a person who was trained to take people into custody, to get them on the ground, to place handcuffs on them. I'm saying that as a person who actually held people against the wall, put handcuffs on them. People laugh at security, but I was going to earn my paycheck. It paid the bills. And I came from a place where you do what's right because it's right.